Harper One and HarperAudio present The Sacred Chain: How Understanding Evolution Leads to Deeper Faith by Jim Stump. This is the author. For Finley and Auden. Introduction. I sat by myself at one end of the boardroom, fidgeting with a few notes on the table in front of me. At the other end were about 10 older men in suits and ties peering over their tables, arms crossed. It wouldn't have been difficult for someone just walking in to determine which end of the room held the power. After my brief opening statement, the rest of our time was set aside for discussion. The 2-hour meeting felt more like an inquisition. The first questioner hardly let the silence settle after I spoke. "Jim, I went to school with your father. We even went on a mission trip to Mexico together. I've known you since you were a kid. What happened to you?" I've replayed this scene in my head 100 times, varying what I say in an attempt to get my accusers to stand up, shake my hand, and say, "Oh, now we see, that makes sense. Sorry for the trouble." But every time it ends the same way. I have to give up my position as a tenured professor of philosophy and leave the college I've served for 17 years. My crime? Believing what 99% of those who have a PhD in biology or medicine believe, that human beings evolved over time and share common ancestors with every other life form on the planet. But this was a small Christian college, one of the places where evolutionary theory is deemed incompatible with Christian beliefs. And not just incompatible, evolution is considered dangerous. These men believed that hearing anything positive about evolution would make students doubt the Bible. If you can't believe the creation account in the very first chapter of the Bible, their thinking goes, then why believe any of it? I do not believe faith is so fragile. I'd already shared with the panel examples of the ways faith and science can not only coexist, but actually strengthen each other. But the rhetoric of prominent creationist groups whose rigid interpretations are rooted in a creation science movement less than 100 years old, so unsettled the college leadership that, after questioning me, they changed the official statement of beliefs that faculty have to sign each year. Not only was I forced out of my job, but my students would no longer be able to learn from a professor who openly affirmed the scientific consensus on evolution. To be fair, I wasn't technically fired. I could have stayed if I had agreed to the new rules. There are still a few other faculty members there who would admit behind closed doors that they accept evolution, but they can't teach it as true like they do photosynthesis or germ theory. They can't publish scholarly work that defends it. And they certainly can't have leadership positions in organizations that advocate for evolution, even if that advocacy comes from a Christian viewpoint. That last point was the kicker for me. I'd been working with one such organization, BioLogos, for a couple of years by that time. BioLogos was founded by Dr. Francis Collins, the scientist who led the International Human Genome Project and later served as director of the National Institutes of Health under Presidents Obama, Trump, and Biden. In 2006, Collins published a best-selling book, The Language of God, about his adult conversion to the Christian faith and how he made sense of his religious beliefs alongside the science he practiced. BioLogos was founded to spread that message of harmony to others. You don't have to choose between the well-established science of our day, including evolution, and authentic Christian faith. That news clearly has not gotten out to everyone yet. I had taken on a part-time position at BioLogos in 2013 with full approval from the college administration. When I first brought up the role, the president was not only supportive, but enthusiastic. He wanted the college to be part of these important conversations at the intersection of faith and culture. But he was new to our community, having just been hired from the outside. He understood that evolution could be a controversial topic, but he was confident that we could handle it well. Maybe too confident. Some of my friends and colleagues had wondered how this arrangement would go over with the broader constituents, but most of them thought I'd be safe because I was an insider. I did my undergraduate degree at that same college, and one semester...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?